Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you, as is usual. For this one we're continuing on with my Scottish series of beer reviews. So this is the Scottish Beer Month and this is video number 8. And for this one we're going to go to the village of Stonehaven, just to the south of the city of Aberdeen, and visit the 6 Degrees North Brewery, who are a Belgian style brewery. These beers are really cool, sort of Scottish mineral water in a sort of Belgian style beer. So they're really interesting and very nice beers actually. So as is usual with my beer reviews, then I'll take you through a brief history of the brewery, tell you a little bit about where the beer comes from and all of that sort of thing. If you don't want to stick with me for that, just fast forward a few minutes into the video and you will get right to the tasting. The brewery website is in the video description for you below, along with the link to their Facebook page and a link to my other reviews from 6 Degrees North, and there will be another 2 of these added either before this one or kind of after this one. These videos are filmed in advance for my travels. So anyway, this brewery are a very new Scottish craft brewery. They're from a little fishing town, as I mentioned, Stonehaven, which is about 15 miles to the south of the northeastern city of Aberdeen. And these guys pride themselves in being a Belgian brewing style brewery, and they market themselves as the Belgian Brewers of Scotland. And about a year and maybe about 3 or 4 months ago now, I think it was May in 2013, they opened their brew pub in Aberdeen, which is just behind Marshall College in the city centre. It's actually very close to the Brewdog brew pub, but the brew pub itself has about 300 different bottled Belgian beers, as well as 30 tap beers which include their own brews, other imported Belgian beers, and some various other Scottish craft beers as well. So the origins of this brewery go back to a hotel in the marina in Stonehaven called the Marine Hotel, and this is a really nice hotel, and the bar is really cool as well. They stock about 130 different bottled Belgian beers, and they also have several beers from Scottish microbreweries on tap as well, just like the brew pub. But they actually won an award for the best real ale bar in Scotland back in 2008, and I've spoken to the owner. I'm sure his name's Robert, but he goes by the name Brew Bob, and I've spoken to him a few times when I've been in the brew pub, and he says that he lived and worked in Belgium for a while, and this was where his love of Belgian beer came from, and he can actually be seen regularly in the brew pub, and he's a very nice guy, so if you see him in there, go and chat to him. But the marina is on the southern side of the town, and you'll see a sandstone structure on the top of the hill in Stonehaven, which is the War Memorial, and the marina is just below that. But if you actually carry on for a mile or so beyond that, you'll get to the Dunotter Castle, sorry, which is a kind of ruin. It's got a very interesting history actually, but in truth Stonehaven is a very cool little place to visit if you're coming to Scotland. It's kind of quite a random place to go, but very nice, and I highly recommend you do it as well. And they've actually got a very good little beer shop there called Dunotter Wines and Spirits as well, and they've got one of the best fish and chip shops in Scotland as well, which is called the Bay, I believe. But according to the Marine Hotel website, the main construction of the brewery building went on in August 2012, and they received and installed their new instruments over the next few months. And the first trial brew started in January of 2013, and in May they actually secured the site for the brew pub, and then they started their first commercial brews in March for the brew pub opening. So this brewery are kind of about a year old now, and it's very cool actually. They've kind of grown very quickly, and I think they probably will open up another brew pub at some point in the near future. But they have a very nice little bar there, and if you do come to Aberdeen in Scotland, I really recommend that you check these guys out. So I would have a little look at the brewery website and things like that I've put in the video description, but let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer now. So this guy is a 4.6% Belgian sort of blonde beer, this one. I've had it on tap before and it's really nice on tap, a really nice kind of sort of quite malty beer, this one. It's got a really nice little taste to it. But I'll bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. It's quite simple. I think they've changed their bottle art quite recently, so you've got a solid label instead of this kind of transparent one. But this beer I've had for 6 months or so, I think, so it's only just changed. It's a plain bottle cap on this one, and it tells you a little bit about the brewery on the back here. And it says that it's Brew Bob, Wally and Chopper, who are 6 Degrees North. And the reason the brewery is called 6 Degrees North is because Aberdeen is apparently 6 degrees north of Brussels, which is where Brew Bob used to live, obviously. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on to the tasting. So as I said to you, 4.6% ABV, Belgian style, kind of Belgian style golden ale, I guess. Oh, geez, that didn't work out very well, so here we are. Sometimes happens with your beers. Must have just got that caught there. But as usual, as you would expect with a Belgian beer, you're going to get a massive head on this guy. It's the first time I've had that when I've kind of missed and almost destroyed the bottle in this one. But as you can see, it's poured a really nice kind of blondish beer. There's a lot of sediment in this one actually. Maybe just, I've had it sitting in the fridge for 2 or 3 days actually. So I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the colour of this one. So you can see it's a very nice kind of opaque, bright yellow golden colour. If I put my fingers behind it, you can't really see through that, but it's got a big sort of 2-finger bumpy white head on it. That'll soon go down when we give it a sugar there, but there's a lot of sediment floating about in this one. I think that must just be because the beer is kind of 6 months old, and the Belgian beers of course have a hell of a lot of yeast and stuff in them, so that's probably just where it's come from. So let's give it a sugar and see how we can get on with the aroma here. It smells quite a bit like a kind of saison or a wheat beer rather than a blonde actually, which is quite interesting. But you've got a kind of spicy yeast character to this one, some kind of like maybe coriander and kind of ginger. You know, the more coriander you would associate with Belgian beer actually, but it definitely has that kind of spicy element that you expect of Belgian beer. But it's got a little bit, it's obviously got a big bready character as well. Sniffing up a little bit. I'm not having much luck with this beer review at all actually, but yeah, some nice kind of doughy bread in there, just a faint hint of banana actually, but nothing too prominent. Mainly a big bready aroma, a little bit of spice, kind of ginger, sort of coriander, but there's a little bit of kind of grainy or cereal character in here as well. You can just pick that up quite easily, but a very nice smelling beer nonetheless. So let's give it a taste and see how we get on here. So this is the Jozef Blond from 6 Degrees North in Stonehaven in Aberdeenshire. So cheers! It does taste, one thing I should say about this one is it does taste pretty much exactly the same as it does on tap, and that's what's really good about these guys actually, is that they can get their bottle conditioned beers to be pretty much bang on with compared to what you would get going into the brew pub. So you're kind of getting that sort of spicy and doughy bread flavour. It's actually, the spice is quite kind of subdued in the flavour actually. It's more, you're getting a little bit more of a kind of citrusy feel coming out in this one. There is a good bit of lemon citrus in here with this blonde beer. But yeah, you've got a nice kind of slightly spicy, doughy bread flavour to this one. Just a tiny little bit of cereal flavour in it, but it's mainly a kind of big, doughy, bready yeast character, and the doughy kind of yeasty bit is a little bit sweet in honesty. But there's just a tiny little hint of a sort of clove flavour and wheaty flavour in this one actually. But very, very faint. It is mainly a nice, big sort of white bready, doughy and yeasty flavour to this one. It's really, really nice, and as I say, it does taste pretty much the same as it does on the tap, except the tap one maybe does feel just a little bit fuller, but that's usually what you get with a sort of cask ale, if you like. It always has that bigger sort of malty presence, and it's slightly less carbonated as well, obviously. But I mean, yeah, really, pretty much a really kind of big, yeasty and sort of bready flavour out of this one. Just a tiny little bit of the kind of sort of cinnamony, ginger, coriander spice a little bit. But there is some nice kind of lemony citrus in there too. It's a very, very nice beer this. There is a little, just a tiny hint of cereal spice as well, but not the most. It is mainly a big sort of white bread flavour you get with this one. What's really nice actually is if you go to the brew pub and you get this bread thing that they put the soup in the middle of. That's absolutely beautiful, and this beer goes very, very well with that actually. This beer is nice for sort of eating bread and butter and things with. It's really, really nice. In terms of the mouthfeel, it's light to mid-bodied. It's quite well carbonated actually, and it just has it's very kind of full. It feels very full at the same time because you have all that bready and yeasty character in there. But it doesn't have much of a sour character, which I think is quite unusual for their beers. Usually the Jiangxi, which is their double IPA, has a really nice sour character to it, and most of the other ones do. I would say that comes out a little bit better on the tap version, but you don't really have any of it at all with this one. And in honesty, I do remember the Jozef Blond being kind of exempt from that sort of rule of 6 Degrees North beers, but it's a very, very nice one. It's got a slightly dry character in the finish of this one, and that's because of the sort of lemony, almost slightly grassy hop character that comes out on the end of this beer. But yeah, you just get the sort of lemony citrus with and that goes around to the edge of the tongue and just gives you a slightly dry character. And this big nice white bready yeast kind of just sits there around the edge of the tongue, and it's really or sits there in the middle of the tongue rather. It's a very nice beer, this, and I do recommend that if you get the chance and you're visiting Scotland, those of you watching from overseas, go and visit Aberdeen and taste the beer from Brewdog and 6 Degrees North. You won't get it fresher than you will in these two brew pubs. And 6 Degrees North is a really nice little bar, and it's very kind of modern, and you can see all the different bottles of Belgian beer that they have on there. Their bottles are a little bit expensive, but you know, if you want to try some really kind of authentic stuff, it's a very good place to do it within Scotland. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review, and I've kind of convinced you to go and have a little look at some of the 6 Degrees North beer. Please let me know in the comment section if you do happen to have tried this beer yourself. It's always interesting to hear different people's opinions of the beers that I'm reviewing for you. So please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out 6 Degrees North Brewery. Hopefully the next review that I do from these guys, I won't have the bottle exploding and then me sniffing it up. But I hope you've enjoyed the review nonetheless, and you're enjoying my Scottish series of beer reviews. I'll be back tomorrow with the next one in the series then. Cheers!